I am Professor Peter Mortimer. I'm a mycologist and I'm also an avid rock climber. I do quite a bit of caving as well. And I often try and combine my passions. When I think of sitting in the office all day, I start to scheme up how do I go climbing or caving during work hours. And I started exploring caves and looking for fungi in these cave systems. It just so turned out in one of my favorite climbing spots outside of Kunming, there happens to be a cave below the cliff where we go climbing. And we decided to explore this cave system. And in the process of crawling through small, narrow, muddy tunnels, we came across this carcass of a bat, and it was just covered in fungi. To me, this was immediately not only an exciting discovery, but a little bit scary as well, because here we have a mammal that's being devoured by fungi. And we don't know if the fungi is the reason that this bat died, or is it just being decomposed by fungi?
I'm Stephen Axford, a fungi photographer, and Peter Mortimer is our long-time collaborator in China. And I'm keen to find out what fungi he has found in this cave.
So what did you find down here, Peter?
Well, on a recent caving trip, me and some friends found what for me is extremely exciting, and it made my friends a little bit scared. We found a few dead bats covered in fungus. And we've never seen this before. We've got a lot of evidence of how they eat insects and spiders, arachnids, and different creatures. And there's an epidemic in the States with a white nose disease, which is a fungus that attacks living bat tissue. But so it might be the first record of that here, or potentially something totally new.
Real science fiction stuff. So where exactly are these bats?
They're about 100 meters below our feet.
Down there.
You're going deep down. We want to go back and sample this. We want to culture it and sequence it, and it's potentially a very important find.
While Peter makes his way down into an underground world of stalactites and crystals, I can't help but think about the significance of this discovery. As Peter said, it's not the first time a fungus has been found infecting bats. In fact, cavers around the world are warned not to spread Pseudogymnoascus destructans, better known as white nose syndrome, a fungus that clings to the muzzles and bodies of hibernating bats, draining them of life. Since it first appeared in North America, it's wiped out more than 5 million bats, a sobering number.
There it is. You have the skull, main body of the bat, and then the white mycelium, the fungal tissue.
Here in Yunnan, working with Peter's team over the last decade, we've documented countless flesh-eating fungi from the cordyceps family.
Check out these cool guys. Look what happens to a cicada. How cool is that?
Wow. So this is the fruiting bodies of the cordyceps. You can see this is the body of the cicada. The head is here, the wings probably more or less disintegrated. I think these things are fantastic because there's such a variety in them, and they're so pretty when you catch them like this.
The cordyceps group include the infamous zombie fungi. These infiltrate the exoskeletons of insects and spiders, working their way into the central nervous system. Then, like a sinister puppeteer, the fungus hijacks its host, forcing it to cling to a leaf or branch in its final moments. Once the creature dies, the fruiting bodies burst forth, releasing spores to begin the cycle again. The good news, these fungi don't usually infect mammals. Our body temperature is simply too high. At least, that's what we've always believed.
Steve. Success.
Success?
Yeah,
Get a sample?
we did. Took a few, and I brought down the bat as well. It actually looks like there's two kinds of fungi on the bat.
Oh wow.
I've only cultured one, isolated one. The other one is a bit more robust, and I think we can do it up top under slightly better conditions, and we're going to want to sterilize the equipment because now there's actually two species in play. We don't want to contaminate any of the cultures.
All very exciting.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Peter is joined by mycologist Professor Samantha Karunaratne, who back in 2019 was the lead taxonomist in Peter's team. Sam has set up a portable lab to prepare the specimens for analysis. Back at the Kunming Institute of Botany, the team sequenced the DNA of the fungi on their bats, and the surprises keep coming.
In the end, we found 11 different species of fungi growing on these dead bats, including some pretty scary groups of fungal pathogens and 4 novel species.
This is the white main fungus we isolated.
Yeah. I spoke to a couple of other bat researchers in Yunnan province. They immediately sent me a bunch of photos, and they were identical to what I had seen. They were finding dead bat carcasses covered in the same collection of fungi. It was a sign to me that there was something killing these bats. Stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, we are coming out of a COVID era. And it's in fact COVID shut down much of my bat fungi related research because these were horseshoe bats in a similar environment to where maybe COVID came from. And it got pretty real pretty fast. Traditionally, fungi don't tolerate the high body temperatures of humans. We very seldom get internal fungal infections. But during the COVID era, it became evident this was not the case anymore. More and more people were falling sick and dying from fungal infections, internal infections. In particular, in India, we saw many immunocompromised patients suffering from COVID who were getting secondary infections now of a fungal pathogen, and in fact dying from that, not from COVID itself. And one of the theories is that with climate change, fungi are adapting to warmer and warmer environments. And as they can tolerate sort of higher temperature extremes, we're going to find they can tolerate our body temperatures as well. And I tell you, I'll rather have a viral infection than a fungal infection. These things are pretty scary. Fungi are in fact more closely related to us than they are to plants. Because of those similar biologies, it's quite hard to treat them. So when we get infected with fungi, it's some nasty chemicals to get rid of them. They're very hard to treat. There is an element of concern. I'm not like some doomsday scientist saying like everyone should be in fear of fungi, but the more we disturb delicate systems, it exposes us to pathogens that we haven't been exposed to before, and it's these novel exposures that are quite concerning.
For now, these flesh-eating fungi are confined to the world of unlucky bats, insects and spiders. But science fiction has long imagined a world where these fungi infect mammals. Maybe, just maybe, these bats are teaching us that the line between fiction and reality could be thinner than we think.